or force him to use global in a bad situation. I think it's just very annoying for Silencer to deal with a clock in.
Clockwork needs to do a lot of this game because he is pretty much the only setup, him and Bane, but also Bane's going to be playing into Silencer, playing into this global presence, playing into Earthshaker, so I don't think he's going to be having an easy time landing his spells. And if you look at the Tricore of NIGMA Galaxy, these are pretty static, no stuns type of heroes that they need a lot of time to get on.
No, you forgot about the Dominator.
All right.
Centaur would have been good as well.
Yeah.
But it was banned first phase.
Yeah, of course. So that's why we were sort of seeing the underlord there. You guys, it's elimination. We've got to get some final thoughts though for game number 1. A team. Because you can people cheering for both sides of Tidebound on NIGMA Galaxy.
Tidebound.
I'm going to go with Tidebound on this one as well.
I think I'm afraid of the audience, so I'm going to go with Tidebound as well.
Prepare for battle.
You're afraid of the audience. I love it. Let's see, though, what exactly our coach and Tsunami have to say about the draft.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Kuroki of Enigma Galaxy, who is deciding to put on a show for us because Sumail Muerta mid. This is not a flex I've seen from you guys before. What's the reason?
Well, it's Sumail. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. So, yeah.
You leave him unchained and he's gonna do work. But you guys have been running experiments though. Even yesterday we saw the Nature's Prophet experiment. So this theory, Muerta being flexed at the last second, you think it's gonna be able to trip up Tidebound?
We're very confident. We've practiced it quite a lot.
30 seconds.
And I believe in my guys' abilities. But at the end of the day, we're here to enjoy the games and we hope to inspire you guys.
The inspiration is here for sure, my man. But in addition to enjoying the games, we get to enjoy the games. I don't know how much you get to enjoy the games because these have to be incredibly stressful experiences. I was watching yesterday. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. What's it like as a coach witnessing your boys playing on stage?
I'm chilling, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just having fun and yeah.
Barclays Arena, are you ready to have some fun as well? Then let's get the game started. Good luck, Kuroki.
All right, into game number 1 between Tidebound and NGX. Kuro very, very chill as always, Cinderin. And we'll see if he's chill after this game number 1, because this should be a doozy. Tidebound and NGX find themselves very early in this lower bracket here at TI.
Yeah, if there's one thing you want to have as your coach when you're getting into these like high stakes games, it's definitely someone who can keep a calm.
That was quick.
head.
Omar first blooding wide. Good start for NGX. Go ahead, Cinderin. Sorry to interrupt.
I think it's a very healthy sign for NIGMA Galaxy that Kuro is as relaxed as he is, because we've had many teams throughout TI's history that talk about how you perform your best when the pressure is off.
Yeah.
I think at this point for maybe NGX themselves even, you might have already exceeded expectations a little bit. You had an interview with... Oh, hang on.
He's in quite a bit of trouble. Omar's going to make his way over, but it's too late. Last right click is enough for Shiro to bring down Noob. Go ahead and continue your point.
Yes.
I don't see how many kills we get in the meantime.
Yeah, well, it's a good start, isn't it? We had an interview with GH in the Road to the International. He was talking about they enter with no expectations because they feel like they will perform better without the pressure. And in reality, this year has been very turbulent for this organization, right? It's been a mixed bag, and so have the previous ones. So I think they're just really enjoying themselves and feeling the moment, and that's kind of what Kuro was hinting at in the interview as well, right? We're out there, we're going to play our best and have fun and enjoy it. And a lot of teams have made crazy runs with that mentality.
Yeah.
This is obviously going to be a really tough opponent, but worth noting, Team Tidebound had a great start in the Road to the International, and then yesterday they really got humbled. So they're a little bit in the opposite situation, in spite of both teams having lost. I think NIGMA Galaxy perhaps could be have the better mental angle for today, possibly.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, pressure is definitely a big thing. I mean, with NGX, you have a lot of experience on the shoulders of the likes of GH and Sumail, of course, but I mean, a lot of people did not pick them to get to the top 8 to begin with. Of course, there's a lot of hope for that to happen, and that is indeed the case, whereas Tidebound, there's always going to be lots of pressure, even with 2 TI winners on the squad. I mean, China is very unforgiving with their own team, Cinderin, as we've seen in the past.
And I will say, talking about hope, the elephant in the room that I feel like we talk this to death, but you still have to think about this in NIGMA Galaxy games because, you know, the stats don't lie, as a famous man once said. It's a lot of NIGMA Galaxy's games when they go late become kind of crazy.
Yes.
And Team Tidebound and Extreme Gaming, the two big Chinese teams performing in this tournament, have been no strangers to playing very well late. And NIGMA Galaxy's Achilles heel.
Right on top of Bach. They were fighting for this Lotus, and that's the death of Faith Beyond. Planet now on the run as both Ghost and GH will pursue. It's going to be close with this last right click, as GH doesn't have Brain Sap up for a while, so they won't get that second kill, but already off to a very good start.
Yep.
And of course, securing the Lotuses when you have a Medusa on your team, extremely important.
Yeah. It's arguably the best Lotus hero in the entire game. So even the early ones that aren't as powerful are just extremely powerful. And Medusa, it's way more EHP for her than other heroes. So a nice grab for them and a good start. This Bane Medusa lane, definitely one of the better lane matchups you can have against Underlord. In spite of him being the last pick, he's not picked as a counter to the lane. He's picked more in the broader sense on a macro level. But I don't see any reason why Ghost wouldn't just keep farming up a Storm here. And his carry matchup against Gyro is also good on the Dusa. The bigger question I have revolves around the team fighting capabilities of the two lineups, because what we've seen in this tournament a lot is that games go longer. On the main stage, they've actually, ironically, kind of been shorter on average than they were in the first stage. But if this game goes down the distance, how are NIGMA Galaxy going to structure their team fights? They don't really have any key team fight abilities versus a lineup that has Global Silence, Echo Slam, Flak Cannon, everything Underlord brings to the table with auras. They're decked out for that playstyle, whereas NIGMA Galaxy is a lot more skirmish heavy, but then you still have the Medusa. A little bit of a mixed bag in my opinion.
Yep, that's true. Also, like you mentioned, NGX bring a style of play that feels extremely chaotic, regardless of them having a lead, or as we're going to see, a Nightmare. Omar coming in as well. TP support is on the way. Dead shot back into the cogs. Nothing to say, in a lot of trouble. Planet and Wyatt made their way over, but Nothing to Say is already dead. It might be a trade for Omar, but this is a level 2 support. So definitely not favorable for Tidebound.
Really cool combination there. The cogs and Deadshot forcing the enemy hero into that cog knockback. It is, like the panel talked about, it's a tough matchup for Shaker. The Clockwork is a classic counter, and on top of that, you lane him against Muerta, who is a very untraditional mid hero, but when played in melee matchups can truly bully the opponent. This constant harassment with Gunslinger, with Deadshots. And of course, no surprise here, Sumail going for the quick draw facet, which is the classic way of playing core Muerta.
GH, Nightmare, back into Omar on that level 2 Clockwork, and you can see how hard it is for the Underlord to cast anything. The Battery Assault is such a good counter to these long cast time heroes, and Ghost gets the kill onto Faith Beyond.
Omar is everywhere so far on this clock. Also, part of the reason why he's so low level is he's not really taking any lane experience, but of course other heroes are going to be the beneficiaries of that. As long as your lanes can stand on their own, you're going to get a faster level 6 on the Lycan, for example, which could be really impactful. His matchup against the supports of the enemy team are very good. Silencer is terrible against Lycan. I'd say Snapfire one of the weaker ones as well.
And these are basically 2 solo lanes, top and bottom, with the supports just roaming constantly. Nothing to Say. Gonna know that GH is in the area.
Yeah, Koro asked his teammates, do you guys remember how you played in 2014? And they all say, no, we weren't born then.
Nothing to Say. Gets off a Fissure, blocks off GH. Omar's going to be fine, but it looks like, can he get the deny onto the creeps? GH attempts it, but Nothing to Say with the Enchant Totem kill. And they can see that there are a couple of stacks. Nothing too major to work with, though, yet for Tidebound.
Oh, Omar's just in there. He's going to chase here. There's a 7-minute wisdom that he would love to try to steal. That was part of why this Bane kill was so good when he got it.
And Bach is making his way from the north. Omar inside of the circular area, but Planet gets there too. So now Omar on the retreat. Good fissure from Nothing to Say, and this will be the death of Omar. Now his reign has finally come to an end, already with the 1 kill and 2 assists in this game.
I honestly don't really mind that. He pulled 4 heroes over there. He's just putting pressure and making space for his teammates, knowing that he's so low level. It's not that big of a loss to make the enemy team run for you for that long. Helm of the Dominator now completed for Sumail. Can't say I've seen much mid-Muerta with Helm of the Dom, but...
Yep, sure, it's fine. Just like with every other hero.
They have one on Muerta, they have one on the Lycan. As for the Tidebound side, they're going for none of them, it looks like. So, a little bit uncharacteristic. We've seen Bach play a lot of Helms on his offlane heroes.
Yep. Have they used it on Underlord, though? I don't think I've seen.
I don't know how much he's even played this hero this tournament, to be honest.
8-minute power rune is bottom. It's a damage rune as a dead shot does hit, so Planet will be brought down eventually, you would think.
The Troll's gonna get him.
Troll does get the last hit. More supports dying outright, though, so 2 for 1 across the map.
NTS managing to kill off Omar there with the Echo Slam. So first use of that will not be on Ancients or a big camp stack. Speaking of, GH is in the neighborhood trying to get a read on just how much is in that triangle with his Bane. He removes the sentry but doesn't block any camps. Still, the pressure is going to mount now. They're going to try to take advantage of Echo Slam being on cooldown, so now you can go in here and use these rally creeps to really get to work. And Sumail also with the amp damage rune. 9-minute mid tower is a very good look, considering, remember, they have Lycan and they have these 2 Helms.
And the GH Nightmare is going to force Planet out, though, and they're just going to walk away, it seems.
This is without question a good start for NIGMA Galaxy.
You got the dead shot you talked about, along with the Nightmare facet inside those cogs. Pretty crazy combo. And then with the calling from the outside, they have a lot of good fight potential on this NGX side. As why he finds himself, Sumail slows him, but GH is on the other side to finish the job. A 2K early lead for NGX, and in terms of how important it is for these teams to get off to a good start, in terms of like their lineup, how does that shape up this game?
I think it was more important for NIGMA Galaxy to get off on the right foot here, because again, when we go down the stretch, I do think Tidebound's lineup just is a little bit more stable in later game team fights and overall more constructed scenarios, but NIGMA Galaxy's lineup is really good at playing these 2 versus 1 ganks or 2v2s. You know, you run around the map with Bane, with Clock, with Lycan Wolves.
Shiro found by Omar, level 5 right now. TP support on the way. He's just getting bounced left, right, and center. Completely out of mana now, though. Planet will be the recipient of the help of that homing missile, as Omar again looks like he's going to drop, but he is again just forcing so many heroes to help aid their cores. That's 3 heroes this time brought.
Yeah, Ghost is having the freest time ever because of this. So you can see on the net worth distribution, the big loser in this game so far is Nothing to Say on the Shaker, which I have to say is starting to become a little bit of a pattern in these games.
It does feel like that, yeah. Shapeshift from Noob. Mortimer Skits is coming out from Planet. He's just going to get chomped down, though, by the Lycan as Shiro slowed to a crawl. Now going to get chased by the Pinecone and the Wolf. Pretty much out of mana right now. Why? Looks like he's going to dissuade Noob from going any further. Still quite worse for wear as Bach left to his own devices, though. Now inside the cogs with the battery assault. But with that TP, going to force the rest of NGX away. Nothing to Say comes in, trying to take out the Pinecone. Looks like they'll be able to get that with the tower. But like you said, Ghost left all alone. He gets the tier 1 tower all by himself.
I mean, this is some stellar play from NGX, to be honest. Whether they find the kills or not, they are dictating absolutely everything that's happening in the game. And of course, we were criticizing this about Tidebound yesterday, their support duos being a little bit more on the passive reactive side. In this case, the Snapfire can be aggressive, but is constantly being pulled around the map. And well, what are you going to do as level 5 Silencer except respond to these moves? So, NIGMA really just... I don't feel like Tidebound has made a move yet. It's been 12 minutes. I think all of their kills have been reactive. And if NIGMA Galaxy can keep this pace up, they're on the way to a very chunky lead. They've only taken the top and mid tower. Bottom tower is usually the easier one to get, and they still can claim that. Of course, Ghost is just farming up a storm. And my question with this Shaker is, when are we going to see something big here?
Well, he just got his blink, so that might be the timing, but he gets Nightmare before it's delivered. Sumail there, Fiend's Grip applied. The silence is actually going to prevent the cookie from coming out, so that was a pretty long Fiend's Grip. Has Nothing to Say, tries to run away. More reinforcements, though, arriving for Tidebound, and there's the blink reveal with the Echo Slam from Nothing to Say. Sumail is still living, though. Called out, not even going to clip him. He is getting a little bit low, but does find the distance, finds an illusion rune in addition. In some way, somehow, nobody dies other than the tomato, and tomatoes are real people, of course.
That is a very bad blink reveal for Shaker. That is not what you're hoping for.
It was
considering
close,
he got the full element of surprise there. Not only is it the blink reveal, but it's in the middle of a fight, right?
Yeah.
He got initiated on, got the reset, and then has the blink. It's very unexpected for NIGMA Galaxy that play comes out, and they still don't get a singular kill. And it begs the question, did Bach not have his ulti ready at that point? This is obviously a hero that you want to connect to these moves with Fiend's Gate when the team fights are bigger. Still stuck around down bottom, and now he might just get dove potentially.
Rocket Flare reveals his position, puts down the Pit of Malice. Omar, well, he still has the hook shot available. I don't think they're going to need it. He's getting completely surrounded here. But again, TP supports from Tidebound. This time Y shows up. There's the hook shot with the dead shot to follow. Bach still surviving though. Super tanky, gets off the Firestorm, but now getting bounced left, right, and center. Sumail brings him down.
Tidebound
That took a long time.
It did.
They got him.
And okay, that's a little bit worrisome for Tidebound that Bach can sit there and tank a gank for literally 30 seconds and they still feel like they can't help him. Goes to show that their lineup needs time. When the early game fails and you're lacking key ultimates, you still don't have global yet, minute 14. That's not ready. Shaker doesn't have echo. So obviously NIGMA Galaxy will try to take advantage.
This looks like a Wisdom Shrine play from NGX.
Yeah, they're getting both of them.
Middle tower is
We'll
under
see.
attack.
There are TPs coming. Bach going to be in the middle of a 20-second fight again. A beautiful Cogs. That means GH can steal it. Mortimer's Kisses is set up pretty nicely. Stone Gaze, though, comes out from Ghost. And the first to fall is Faith Beyond again. And now look at this. The Nightmare onto the Earthshaker. Looks like Shiro shows up, though. And that means NGX will likely want to run away. GH going to be the recipient of the call down. So ends up being a 1-for-1. It's a global silence finally coming out from Y. He dies shortly after, but this is the bigger kill. Ghost super low on HP, on mana in this case. Pops the Lotus Zone, staying alive as a result. Shiro already using the flat cannon, Noob in the area as well, but nothing to say, kind of running out of steam. Sumail coming in from the south, wants to continue the pressure, but doesn't have too many resources at his disposal, so looks like this might break things up.
That's still very much, once again, mission accomplished for NIGMA Galaxy. You trade supports, but you get the wisdom. And again, Echo and Global
Omar is still here. All right, how long you been there, young man? He will eventually be brought down by Bach. Actually, Shiro in this case, but yeah, back-to-back deaths for Faith Beyond. That certainly will set him back. I mean, he's 1-4 already in this game.
In spite of that, he's still almost 1,500 ahead of his mid-shaker.
Ouch. Yeah.
These mid-shakers have been very polarizing. It's interesting, it was theorized to be one of the biggest picks coming into the tournament, and it has been picked and banned a lot, make no mistake, but a lot of the games we've cast haven't been too impressive with this.
It feels like they just get up to such a poor start and never come back.
Yeah.
But of course, the stacks are supposed to be something that will assist them in that comeback story.
That might have been part of the meta development that has caused Shakers to suffer, is that teams have just become better at contesting that triangle and putting more emphasis on it. Because the Shaker games we've cast, we haven't really seen those like quad stack echoes into getting a fast blink and a full level. GH is in no man's land.
Oh yeah.
-1.
Easy kill for Tidebound. They're going to need a lot more of that. They're at a 6K deficit already at the 16-minute mark. NGX really showing up in this game one so far. Looks like Pipe is going to be the first main item for Bach into the Crimson Guard, as the panel was kind of discussing. No huge surprise for a bot.
Yep. That is going to be the key moment in this game for Tidebound, is can you find that stabilizing team fight when you hit a timing? Because in reality, they haven't hit a timing at all. I think the only possible opportunity was the Shaker blink, but as we've already established, that fell flat.
Yeah.
He's only level 9, minute 17 on the mid-Shaker. It's the same as Clockwork right now
pretty crazy
on NCS. So very poor outlook here. Effectively, he's like position 3.5 from mid.
Planet runs into GH, instant nightmare. Nothing to say is in the area, though, and you can see the Fiend's Grip, or the Fiend's Gate, rather, from Bot coming to fruition, but now the TPs from NGX come as well. Echo Slam, this is all for a Bane, by the way. They're going to clean up the Earthshaker easily, so 1-for-1, mid for support. Of course, the mid is basically a support here.
I was going to say, you could argue a support for support almost at this point, but yeah.
This is the roughest. I mean, we cast, what was it, BZM having a really rough game.
Yeah.
This is worse, it feels like, right?
It's not a good recipe to win Pro Dota to play with 3 supports. That's
Well,
not a common strategy.
4 protect 1, in some ways, is 4 supports and 1 carry, right?
Well.
As Shiro's going to have to do some heavy lifting in this game.
Yeah.
Going for the butterfly next on top of his Manta and Dragon Lance.
That's the good news for Tidebound, is that Shiro is having a good start here. He's 4-0-1. He had a very rough series yesterday, so I think there's also something to be said about, you know, getting off to a good start on the day and feeling like everything isn't coming crashing down after a good start to the tournament. Because yesterday he had 2 tough games back to back. He kind of just got destroyed.
Yeah.
Both in, I mean, in particular, I would say in his Marcy game, but also the Shadow Fiend game wasn't too hot either.
Now Fiend's Grip, and we can see Snapfire left all alone, so easy kill for Sumail. And NGX continuing to increase their lead. Y is spotted, again taken out in turn. So 2 support kills extremely quickly for NGX. The question is, are they actually going to go for Roche? Ghost is extremely close to Butterfly as well. That is a huge power spike for Medusas. He's even pierced the veil pop from Sumail to try to take out the Roche as quick as possible. And they're not too afraid of any response coming out from Tidebound.
Well, they're going to find GH, which is the smallest consolation prize possible. They
will
have to
do
do it
so.
all the way at their own base. Yeah, that's going to be a Roche. So Roche #1 for NGX, looking really, really good here. You could potentially make a case for sieging high ground minute 20 this game. I know that sounds unbelievable in this patch and what we've seen so far in this
After the Tormentor, I'm sure.
But you have Manta, Butter, and Aegis minute 19, which is an insane timing.
Yeah, this is going to be super hard to contest.
You can pick whatever objective you want outside of the enemy base and it's yours. I just don't see Tidebound standing a chance. So you can take every tower or Tormentor by grouping up. Then the question is, if you're grouping up 5 heroes, can Tidebound beat you on economy by just playing the map more efficiently while you group up? So you got to be careful not to be too slow moving as a unit. And for the time being, NIGMA Galaxy don't really seem to be pressing much of the map. They just want to keep farming, which is also okay. They don't have to use the Aegis immediately, but I do think it would be a mistake to just let it expire without forcing anything. And it looks like Ghost is already approaching his first target, the top tier 2 tower.
Yep, likely go for the tier 2, and I mean, maybe you poke a bit, force a fortification, and then go for the Tormentor.
It's just
plenty of time on this Aegis.
I mean, the more you look at this, the better this Medusa hero is in this game, right? The last pick of Tidebound, the Underlord, does no damage to her because Firestorm's percentage-based damage is irrelevant against Deuce's bad HP pool.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of questioning this choice. I understand you want the auras, but do the pros outweigh the cons of Deuce was the primary problem that NIGMA presented in that second phase, and I feel like you did not solve it at all. You have no single target damage, you have no mana burn. Who's going to stop Ghost when he gets his next item?
Yep, GH will get the shard. They don't even need to group up to take the Tormentor, so this is also a tier 2 for NGX. Yep. I mean, this is more of a Thompson thing, I guess, from back in the day. Is there any consideration for Diffusal on Gyro?
I think he has to buy it eventually, because otherwise I just don't see them killing Dusa, but
not yet.
I mean, when you say eventually, how much time are they going to give you?
Exactly, yeah.
That's the question here. If NIGMA Galaxy go high ground here and take a lane of barracks, I feel like we've gone into a time machine from 2 months ago when people played the game normally.
I know, what happened? What happened in these 3 days off?
There we go. I love this. I really think this is a good siege. I think they can commit harder to it and bring Lycan Wolves and everything, but...
Yeah, they find a little tasty snack in the form of Planet. Even uses Pierce the Veil to get that kill.
Planet with a rare sight here, 6 items in his stash. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Huh.
He has a full solar. He just hasn't picked up the power except the energy booster.
He must have panic buyed right before he died then, huh?
I mean, he did AFK after getting nightmared, so he was just mashing his quick buy button.
It happens to the best of us. As Ghost gonna get some pressure applied to him. A call down his place. He's gonna be A-okay though. Obviously, he was still with 2 minutes on that Aegis. Yeah. So it looks like their strat is to go for all the tier 2s.
Yeah. I mean, 2 or 3 tier 2s and Tormentor for the first Aegis is, in the average game, a very good result. Also, a little poke damage on the top tier 3. He got about a quarter of that on his own on Ghost. And yeah, this mid tower, not long for this world. Shiro's trying to be annoying,
Radiant's
but that's
middle
all he'll
tower
do.
has fallen.
I really like this first pickup on Clockwork of playing Force Staff, by the way. We've seen different builds. Force Staff is just exceptionally good against Underlord. It's good against Snapfire and Shaker. The enemy team is creating debris for you to cross, and Clockwork with this can do it for a teammate. You might even see him buy the shard, potentially later for himself too, for even more ability to traverse terrain.
Well, this is quite the expedition for Y. He's certainly aware of Noob's general presence, puts down a couple nice wards. Only question is, will he be spotted at some point? No, we'll be able to TP out, so some good vision now. See if they're able to use that in the coming minutes. As again, the lead just continues to grow. This is not one of those games where you get an Aegis and it kind of plateaus, which has felt like it's happened a couple, like maybe more games than we're used to seeing in the earlier games that we have cast. But this time around, NGX continuing to expand.
Yeah, and they're going to finish this bot lane as well. I think even if the Aegis expires, they're still going to try to commit for this tower. But of course, the dream would be to not get into that situation. You've got 25 seconds. There is a glyph.
Yep,
TIDEBOUND are thinking about it this time.
They sure are. It's a little bit more of a commitment as Shiro will burn about half the mana from Ghost, even more now. Butterfly online for Shiro.
12
Ollie,
seconds.
not
Keep an eye on the timer here. And yeah, Ghost will respect it. So they do defend. So 2.5 towers, a Tormentor, and a quarter of a tier 3 is what Ghost will get in this 5-minute period. Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Almost has Scotty as well.
Dire's middle tower
That's pretty
has
good.
fallen.
Not too bad farming. You can see TIDEBOUND.
Yep, they're going to try to do
Nice
something.
dead shot on the smoke target. Sumail didn't even see him.
This is one of those moments where you go, I was here, Shannon. They're making a move on TIDEBOUND. We were here to witness TIDEBOUND moving as a unit in smoke.
Their creeps are killing all of the neutrals in the meantime, as finally TIDEBOUND is revealed and they find absolutely nothing.
This is what I bought the postcard for. That was really uninteresting to write home about. All right, nothing to say is back to farming.
Yep, doing his best.
Bounty.
He'll have BKB relatively shortly, so just a recipe away at this point. That's still so far behind.
Oh, they're going to try again.
All right, through the gate.
So Bak is queuing up Aghanims now on the Underlord. We both love to see that. Of course, coolest when you've got the Gleipnir.
Oh, this was scanned out. Noob.
Dire's bottom tower
Oh, that's a
is under
very,
certainly
very
aware.
good read.
This might be 2 smokes in a row kind of waste, although Noob, he popped his ult inside the Pit of Malice, though. Reinforcements are going to arrive pretty shortly, but the Global Silence comes out, and the Mortimer's Kisses destroy him. But incoming Sumail with the BKB pierce the veil. First to fall is the Snapfire. You can see the Fiend's grip onto the Gyrocopter. Do they have the damage? They have the lockdown. They have everything. This is not even remotely close. And now the Underlord inside of that nightmare, inside his own Pit of Malice, just getting kited to a high degree. They lose the Lycan to start the fight, but they get 4 straight kills right after.
Nothing to say had no play there. He got caught by the Clockwork, and he echoed the clock and tried to cast Fissure 7 times in a row. And then he died.
Look at the battery assault.
Yeah, he kept trying. And I mean, you've got the Kaya, but you don't have Kaya Yasha, so that's not going to happen.
Man,
like,
what a last pick Clockwork, huh?
Yeah, it's
crazy.
The Clockwork pick has been really good, but again, I think this is the second game of Nothing to Say Shaker we've seen this tournament, where it just leaves a lot to be desired, right? And NIGMA Galaxy, they know exactly how to approach this. Keeping in mind, this could have been even better, right? They scanned them out. Noob knew they were coming. He pops ult. If he's a little bit further right here, he might not even get caught to begin with. And that could have just been a clean sweep. At the very least for TIDEBOUND, they get a little bit of a trade, but keep an eye on the Shaker here in the top left. So Nothing to Say comes through the gate immediately into the calling, gets hookshot up there. Now you're not going to see the rest on camera, but trust me when I say he did nothing, and his health is just falling by the minute.
I trust you, Cinderin.
I take it back. He did echo the Clockwork. He did 200 damage.
Okay. Technically incorrect, but effectively correct. A 4 for 1. NGX 16k lead. This is starting to look quite insurmountable. So what can TIDEBOUND do to get back in this game? Is it just a high ground defense type of deal? Do you have to contest second Roche?
There's a couple of things I think they can do still, or that they especially could have done better.
Hook shot.
Hang on.
Yeah, they find Planet. Dead shot misses, but they have the damage nonetheless.
Doesn't matter, yeah. It's too much damage.
Nullify onto Shiro. Good Manta, though.
they have to have better formation. I think the way Nothing to Say arrived into that fight is just a no-go. You cannot have Shaker arrive into the center of the fight. The gate has to be placed more on the left if you want him to come in through the gate. Otherwise, he needs to be there at the beginning of the fight off to the side to avoid the clockwork. Aside from that, obviously key items coming up. This Shaker BKB will potentially finally allow him to do something. Gyro Satanic will help as well. Shiro can be, as much as we've talked about NIGMA Galaxy not having or Medusa being almost unkillable with single target damage, a Gyro Satanic is also tough to bring down for the NGX side. They don't have that overwhelming single target damage just yet. Sumail will get there. But right now, the hard hitter on one target is actually Lycan. As I say that, Dusa almost has MKB, so maybe not.
Yeah, we haven't even talked
Ghost is
about
just ahead by a full item.
Yeah, absolutely. This is, I mean, Medusa is one of those carries. Feels like you can almost 1v5 in the late stages of the game. And with that MKB relatively shortly coming online, takes Ghost to the next level. Second Roche is available. Does NGX feel confident going for it without a pickoff first is the question. Because fighting against Tidebound in the pit is a bit of a scary proposition. And again, potential pickoff on the planet. Hook shot to start things out, and now slow to a crawl with that Scotty from Ghost. Another easy pickoff for the NGX side.
I think that's enough to go Roche. Like, just having any hero out of play makes this extremely difficult for Tidebound side. And this is actually one of the more important Roshan pit fighting heroes, because Clockwork is going to have his eyes set on Shaker the whole time, so Snapfire is the one who actually gets to cast her ults reliably. With her in the grave, Tidebound just have to concede another objective.
And this one surely means a high ground.
This is a high ground Aegis, without question. 20k lead. Dusa almost fully decked out. Gonna swap out his Falcon Blade for this Aegis, so technically for an Aegis push, he could replace the treads into another item. He's queuing up BKB here on Ghost. Thought maybe we would see something even more hard-hitting to try to finish the job, like Rapier or Daedalus.
It's a little surprising going that defensive, but...
Or if he wants a defensive item, you could make a really good case for Pike here, I think.
GH gonna force out the Fiend's Gate. Nothing to Say blocks off GH, but a nice force F onto the other side. Hook shot from Omar. Looks like they're gonna find the silencer. Y is dead before he'd be able to get off Global Silence. Attempting to go through his own gate. Block. Not gonna happen. Pops the Crimson, dies right after. Just feels like there is no opening for Tidebound.
If they want to take fights, they have to bring the gyro. I just think skirmishes like this are not possible. You're maybe a little bit naive to try to think you can kill GH there. He's got Force Staff, Lens, Essence Ring, and you didn't global. So then the full Fiend script comes out onto the Underlord as well. Just very easy and good response, and very quick responses too from the side of NIGMA Galaxy.
Oh, they see Nothing to Say. The Wolves have spotted him. He's gonna pop the BKB and just get crit. My goodness. You talked about the BKB being picked up. That is not what he had in mind.
That's also not what he bought it for. Ooh. I don't think he bought BKB to counter the Lycan.
Well, he popped it anyway.
Yeah, that's what...
and now the Roche banner placed, and the high ground attempt is here for NGX. What can Tidebound do? Earthshaker down for 30 seconds. He has buyback and Echo Slam, but you might have to just concede an entire lane here.
This is so difficult for Shiro to contest the Dusa with all the backup sitting behind.
Yep, Crimson is popped, so that's gonna prevent some damage coming out from the Medusa, but eventually it'll wear out. 10 seconds away from Nothing to Say getting back in the game. But still, Ghost literally all alone on the high ground, and they can't do anything against him. Shiro already at half HP. They have to force the fortification. Is there going to be a reset from NGX? Do they just continue? You can see the Alpha Wolf on the back line. Yeah, this is just a full lane. And now the BKB being delivered soon on the Medusa. Still 2.5 minutes on this Aegis. And if you're Tidebound, you just don't want to expend too many resources to take out life number one, because then you'll have nothing for the fight afterwards.
I don't think there's any reason to not squeeze this and try to get a second lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still have about half mana on the Medusa. This is the perfect camp that just spawned as well. The 4 creeps in mana for the Mystic Snake. The Ghost is going to be almost back to full when you go and hit mid now.
Oh,
that's just at the BKB
for Omar. My goodness. Overclocking GH. Another target found, potentially.
Yep.
And this is going to be a volley into a kill. So Planet just getting picked off repeatedly.
Ghost 11-0 has had a great start, and he's capitalized on it. He's converted everything he needed to from that beginning of the game, and from a draft perspective, this was exactly what NIGMA Galaxy dreamt of in this game, was to get off to a hot start and just run the entire map before Tidebound's heavy 5-man slower lineup could really come online. If so far in 33 minutes, they've barely got to play their heroes, and that's been a rare sight in this tournament, that a team has been destroyed this hard, this early, and been unable to find at least some sort of rebuttal. It's just been nothing.
And this is going to be a tier 3, still a minute and a half on the Aegis, so Ghost and company will certainly push the envelope to try to get this second lane. Will Tidebound try to do something, or will this just be another free set of barracks?
Radiant structures are
That's going to be the last fortification for quite a while on Tidebound's side. It's the 27k lead for NGX.
There's still a full minute on this Aegis,
and once this Aegis is out, that BKB just takes its place. And this is a second lane for NGX. Uncontested as Tidebound. I mean, is there a power spike incoming? Looks like they're going to smoke up and try to surprise them. I doubt they want to go for the Medusa first. She's going to be spotted and try to wrap around to their own triangle potentially. Sumail could be a good target. The smoke on the other side for NGX. Omar's going to pop it. Overclock is placed into the hook shot. The silencer stuck in place. You'll be able to get off the global silence. No! The silencer dead right off the bat. And you can see Nothing to Say does kill off Omar, but now he's going to get chased by Noob as Shiro full grip on the sideline. Lots of right-click damage from Noob as the GGs come out. NGX just absolutely stomped Tidebound in game 1.
Wow, that was not even remotely close. And we were talking about this at the beginning of the game. Who is going to bounce back best from their loss yesterday? NIGMA Galaxy had the closer series, had more signs of